but I'll be on it always, always and ever.
Hey queens, welcome back to my queen cave. My name is Shelby, queen of the queen cave, and I am so excited that Potomac is finally coming out with the reunion because it's been like, what, 3 weeks now since the season finale came out and they had the whole Karen episode. I skipped that because I honestly just was not too interested into hearing about her prison time and her DUI. I just feel like as long as she's learned from it and she knows, of course, never to do that again, that's all that really matters to me. So today we are recapping The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 10, The Reunion Part 1. So we start with the scene of Eddie and Wendy, and it was a week after they got arrested and released from jail. And Wendy just looks disheveled, she looks defeated, she just looks like a shell of herself. And she just explains how much this is weighing on her, how heavy it feels to know that her kids now are in the know of what's going on. She has to keep thinking about what this could do to her marriage. And she just says that she's not going to be the same type of person she was before. And I'm just thinking, I do empathize with Wendy and Eddie and their kids in that sense of how embarrassing and humiliating this is for them, but also concerning because it's like they could do jail time. I understand how she's feeling and I do empathize on that point, but on the other hand, it's like, this is the consequences of your actions, Wendy. Like, let's just be real. I don't know why you thought you were going to be able to get away with this. Like, you committed these acts, now you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. Like, this is not surprising. So just to see how devastated she is after she committed these acts is kind of like, did you think you were gonna get a slap on the wrist or something? I'm confused. But yeah, I do empathize with her and her kids, but other than that, it's just there's not really much to feel sorry for because it's you willingly did this for your own greedy gain, for you to continue to keep up these appearances of you being so rich and you being X, Y, and Z. So it's just what did you think was going to happen? But anyway, so to start off their reunion, Wendy is asked about her fraud charges. And she explains that she was taking a nap when Eddie woke her up and told her the police were at the door. That's why her wig was slightly shifted. And she says she immediately called her mom to have her go pick up the kids because she wanted to protect them to know, from what was going on. But they knew something was going on because they were spending the night at their grandma's house last minute. So they were very skeptical. She says that Carter, I think he's the oldest one, picked up his phone and found out what was going on through social media and the news, X, Y, and Z. So he already kind of had a little clue as to what the deal was. But she said that when he did ask her about it, they got really emotional and she had to break everything down to her kids. So it was really hard to hear how hard her kids were taking it, of course, because they're so young and they see that both of their parents are in trouble and they have to go to jail, got to go to court, X, Y, and Z. So it's just I can't imagine why you were not considering your children, Wendy and Eddie, when you guys were committing these acts, though. It's always like that. It's in the moment, it's the only focus you have is on whatever greedy gain you have. You don't think that you're going to get in trouble, I guess. And then now it's your children have to deal with the consequences of your actions. So it's I know that hits even worse, and it should. Wendy now describes her experience in jail. She had to spend the night in jail before she was released. And she explains it in more of an upbeat kind of way. And the girls are kind of confused. They're why are you talking about this as if it's a walk in the park type of thing? This is a serious thing. And Wendy's basically I'm just trying to shield the fact that I'm very terrified of this situation. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know how it's going to affect my family. So it's just she's trying to put this brave face on. And that was why, I guess, she explains the reason why she was smiling in her mugshot was because the person behind the camera was so friendly. And they were trying to basically I guess, bait her into giving other facial expressions, giving a smile, giving other looks, quote. She basically says that he manipulated her into smiling. That's what I got from that whole explanation. But I was just who cares? Regardless, girl, you have a mugshot. Whether you're smiling or not, a mugshot is a mugshot. Who cares what you're doing in it? But she says that Eddie wasn't high in his. She said that neither one of them were high in their mugshots. Eddie especially wasn't. He just got up from a nap. And I'm Girl, Eddie is in the clouds in that mugshot. But anyway, Ashley now jumps in and she goes, the biggest fear in my life is going to jail. And now we have two girls in the group that have gone to jail, and that just is so terrifying to me. And everyone's looking at her like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody asked you. And I'm like, exactly. Like, Ashley, you are thirsty to get any little squeeze of time in. Like, who gives a damn? Next, now getting on to Stacy, and she is asked about the whole TJ situation, which she continues to deny that she paid him. And she says that he was not the reason why her and Thiermo broke up. She says that she is the one that filed for divorce, but we get immediate receipts to prove, like, whatever document that she showed the girls to show that a divorce was filed or whatever, it shows that she's the defendant and Thiermo is the plaintiff. So does that not mean he filed? Like, hello, Stacey, you're being caught in lying again, like right on the spot. So I just don't understand why she continues to lie about the smallest things. It's like, we can easily look this up. I don't know why you're lying, Stacey. It's getting old at this point. The whole lie Stacey had about why her and Thiermo couldn't go to that couples dinner with Wendy and Tia gets brought up. And she basically explains the same thing that she said in the show. So there was nothing new there. But Tia basically was saying that she was really pissed off because after Stacey got found out about her lying, instead of her just taking ownership of her lies, she turned it on Tia and lied on her. So that was the reason why Tia has the biggest issue with Stacey. But of course, Stacey deflects. She does not acknowledge that. We move on past that so quick. And I'm just like, could we get any acknowledgement, Stacey? Like, this is the time for you to do whatever acknowledging you can do, but instead you get combative, you get defensive, you deflect, and we don't get anything from you. So that's one thing that I wish Stacey would have done better with, is just at least have some sort of like acknowledgement and ownership of how much she's lied and how much she just does all this flip-flopping and deflecting all over the place. It's just like, it's old now. Like, we're getting tired of the antics, Stacey. Like, please. Tia then brings up the conversation about Chris, and we get some footage of when the girls were in Nevis, and Stacey was talking to Tia and Ashley, and she says that her and Thiermo were seeing other people, and she goes, and Chris was one of those people, like, that she was seeing. So I'm like, does that confirm that you, in fact, were seeing him, Stacey? Like, hello? Like, are you kidding? This whole time you were saying that you were not involved with him in any way. You guys were just like acquaintances, basically. But then in that footage, in that context that you just said, me and Thiermo were both seeing other people, and Chris was one of the people that you were seeing. Like, what else does that mean? Does that not mean you guys had some sort of like relationship to some degree, you know? So I'm just confused. Like, that's like the second time here you're called out for lying, Stacey. And I'm like, not called out, but you are called out for lying with exact receipts to prove it in your face at the reunion. So it's just like, there's no way to talk around it. There is no way to say, no, that didn't happen. We're seeing it right in front of us. So can you explain that? I didn't think so. Next, Stacey is then asked about her weed line and why she blatantly lied about it when she was asked last year at the reunion. And she basically said that she didn't have anything to do with the weed line. She didn't know what anyone was talking about. Where'd you get that information? That's not true. X, Y, and Z. She denied it up and down. But then, you know, a few months later, she's coming out with the weed line. So she's like being asked to explain why she said no the first time. And she's like, well, when you asked me the first time, Giselle, there wasn't anything in place. You know, we were still getting the deal in place and the final contract signed, X, Y, and Z. So there wasn't anything final at the time when you asked me. But then again, I don't feel like I owed you guys any explanation any fucking way. And it's just like, sure, you don't have to divulge the information if you don't want to, fine. But the way that she went about it made it seem shady as fuck. It's just like, what else, like, how else is someone supposed to receive that? If they're blatantly asking you directly a question and you say absolutely you have no ties to anything to do with having a weed line, and that's not all the way the truth, is like shady as fuck. So I understand on one hand, Stacey wants to act like, oh, I didn't have to tell you anything. I don't owe you an explanation. Sure. But the way you went about it, and now you want to come out with the weed line, and now you want to make it seem as if everyone should support you, and then you being like confused as to why everyone's kind of looking at you sideways, it's confusing to me, Stacey. Like, make all of that make sense. Wendy believes that Stacey only named her weed line a Nigerian name just to spite her because she and Eddie served as the messengers for TJ and him telling everyone Stacey paid to be on the show. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. It's just like, yes, I do feel like she got inspiration from Wendy to create the weed line after she saw the success. I do believe that, but I don't know if she would go the extra step to name her company a Nigerian name to spite Wendy just because of that whole thing. I don't know. Like, if you believe that, let me know in the comments down below how you feel about that. But I don't feel like I necessarily believe that. But the girls try to bring it back to the topic of discussion about Stacey and her many lies throughout the season. And Stacey, instead of her once again taking that opportunity to take some accountability, some acknowledgement of her constant lies, she tried to flip it on everyone else and says that they weren't being fair to her this season. They should have given her more grace. And Giselle does not agree with that. She feels like it would not be authentic to the show for her and Ashley not to bring this information she heard from someone that was connected to TJ personally back to the show, because that was a big storyline for Stacey. So it's just like, I don't see why that is a wrong thing in Stacey's mind. She's just mad because people are exposing her for this little dumbass storyline she was trying to come up with that flopped hard. So I don't see anything wrong with it. Next we get on to Angel. And she lets everyone know she did buy a house in Potomac, so it's possible she might be back next season. Hopefully not. But she does get on Tia's ass and tell her, you know, how upset she was that she ran back and told Giselle the whole thing about her being, quote, evicted from her Airbnb. So I thought that was a valid thing for her to do, because I didn't understand why Tia felt the need to go back and tell Giselle anything that was happening with Angel. It's like, clearly they did not have that relationship for you to be going and telling her that business. So I thought that was right for Angel to check her friend Tia for running back and telling her business like that. So now the chin check comment is mentioned. Angel tries to explain after she watched the episode back, her mindset has changed about the situation, and she does acknowledge and try to understand how Wendy was feeling in that moment. So they do try to have like a moment where they cleared that up. But as they're talking, Kiana is starting to talk to Andy. No one asked her any questions. No one said anything to her yet. It's just Wendy and Angel talking. They were already talking before she even said anything, so keep that in mind. So as Kiana is trying to talk and she hears Angel talking in the background, she stops talking. She's looking at Angel like, what is this? Like, why? Basically like, why are you talking while I'm talking type of thing? Like, I have the floor. And Angel stops talking and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, girl. Like, go ahead and finish. And Wendy's like, no, like, we were already talking, Angel. Like, you finished what you were trying to say. And Kiana basically tries to take control of the whole conversation. Basically tells Angel, like, stop talking. I'm the one that has the floor. I'm the one talking now. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, Kiana is so weird as fuck. Like, clearly Angel was already talking before you said anything. You cut her off, basically told her to stop talking so you can be the one to have the floor. The spotlight's on me. Like, you're a weird ass friend. You're just a weird person overall. I don't understand why you need to have everyone look at me. Like, you like beg for attention, and it's just not a good look. I just feel like she's done a complete 180 from when she was an actual friend of, and she's just shown her ass. Like, I'm completely turned off to her being on the cast, like I've been saying the entire season, and I hope her contract gets ended. I hope she gets the boot along with Angel, Ashley, and that's it. Yeah, anyway, after Kiana finally gets her chance to talk, she gets the spotlight, what she wanted. She wants to make it so clear to everyone. She apologized to Angel profusely, up and down. So I'm like, so the only thing you were trying to do was clear your name the whole time. That's all you cared about. Like, all you care about is clearing your name, wanted to make sure everyone knows you apologized, you already fixed the problem, you already took ownership, X, Y, and Z. I'm just like, it would have been great for us to actually see the apology, Kiana. It's really interesting you did that off camera. But I digress, I guess. Now we bring up the whole catfish comment, and Giselle tries to make it clear she was not trying to be shady when she made the comment. Angel tries to explain that it really hurt her feelings that Giselle continued to make jokes about it the rest of the season. And then she also tries to explain that she did have more dip on her chip when she was coming at Wendy and accusing her of making the catfish comment, when it was, in fact, once again, Giselle, because Giselle does say, once again, I am the one that made the comment. It was not Wendy. So she does admit that she came at Wendy at 10 for really no reason, because now she knows for sure it wasn't Wendy that said the comment. But Wendy tries to make the point that you already came into this group with the plan that you were going to see Giselle as a big sister, quote. That's why you didn't have all this extra energy towards her. You wanted to come at Wendy with it, which I think is so weird. It's like, what is this whole like complex you give Giselle that she's so superior and she's so, I need to be her friend so bad. I'm not going to do anything extra. I don't want to upset her, XYZ. It's just weird. It's like Giselle is on the same level as everyone else. I don't know why you're so like intimidated by her, but I'm glad she at least acknowledged that she was wrong for coming at Wendy. She also apologizes to Wendy for the Forrest Whitaker and asshole lips comment. And I was like, when they brought that up again, I was like, I forgot she said that, but I'm glad it's being brought up now because we just got done talking about the whole catfish comment. So it's like, you don't care when people, you care so much when people talk about how you look, but here you are making comments about Wendy and her appearance. Like, make it make sense. So I'm glad her hypocrisy was called out, because she was like trying to backtrack and, yeah, I know I shouldn't have said that, blah, blah. And I'm like, Angel, please be for real. I don't want to hear anything else about this catfish stuff. I don't want to hear anything else about you crying and you being hurt about it, X, Y, and Z. Next. Ashley now gets called out for all the messiness she's been causing the entire season. That's been the only purpose she's had this entire season, is stirring the pot. She's had no storyline. We don't want to hear about her mom. Respectfully, I don't want to hear about her mom. I don't want to hear about her dating life. I don't want to hear about her being a mom. I don't care about any of that shit. Like, Ashley is so useless on this cast. But she tries to explain that the only reason why she was making jokes about Wendy was because she took Wendy smiling in her mugshot as if Wendy was making a joke about it. So she says, I didn't know how like serious the charges were, so that's why I thought it was okay to make jokes. And I'm like, Ashley, you're not fooling anybody. We already know what the deal is. And Wendy calls it out. She's like, I feel like you have like this secret vendetta against me. That's why you jumped on the first chance you could get, just go ahead and start talking about me and making all these jokes. And I absolutely agree. I think Ashley just has some weird like underlying feelings towards Wendy, and she tries to explain that ever since Wendy first got in the group, she's always acted like she was above everyone else. She's always talking down on them. And I'm just like, so is that it? Do you feel like Wendy puts herself on this pedestal and she's above everyone? It's like, if that's the case, then why don't you just say that? Like, I just feel like Ashley does this whole like, she picks and chooses who she wants to be real and upfront with. I don't know why she does that, but I just find her just to be a fucking loser. I'm like, I don't know why you're even here. You find any reason to take a dig at somebody, but the second we start talking about you get defensive. Now it's all personal. I feel attacked, X, Y, and Z, while you're over here trying to talk about Stacey being a victim. You're always a victim, Ashley. At the end of it, Wendy tries to take a jab at Ashley, telling her she doesn't have any accomplishments. And that gets Ashley all like offended and in her feelings. And she's like, at least I have one social security number. And I'm like, ooh, I mean, two things can be true at once, because Wendy, she got you with those fraud charges. You already know they were going to dig at that at any chance they could get. That's their ammo against you at this point, Wendy. And then for Ashley, it's like, what accomplishments do you have, Ashley? Let's be so real. You have a failed company with Giselle. No one talks about. It's failing, it's flopped, it's bankrupt. It should be if it's not already. But on top of that, you have a failing singing career, quote, because we all know damn well you cannot carry one tune. I cannot wait to skip every time they have you singing on here. For some reason, they keep giving you the mic, and I don't understand why, but yeah, next episode gets real good because Monique comes out and we get some more detail on this whole Stacey and Chris of it all. So I cannot wait to get to number 2. What did you guys feel about this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. If you did like this video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!